Hello and welcome to the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hello, welcome, my name is Rebecca, I'm the Creabea, and this is a podcast or a vlog all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on, and what I'd like to cast on in the not too distant future. I, as per usual, have loads to talk about today. I've got a handful of finished objects, I've got a test call, I've got a pattern release, I've been casting on with wild abandon, we've got sweaters, we've got vests, we've got lace, we've got chunky knits. I am just doing a bit of everything at the moment. So I just made myself a fresh cup of coffee. It's pretty good. And I thought we'd settle in and maybe spend, I don't know, the next hour or so having a chat about knits. I don't know how the weather is where you are in the world, but spring has sprung here in Edinburgh and I am really enjoying it. It is not quite warm yet, it's still pretty cold, but the sun is out and we've been getting some spring showers and honestly it's just been glorious and I've really been enjoying it. So I'm in a pretty good mood at the moment, all because of the sunshine. So let's get started with what I'm wearing, which also happens to be a pattern release. This is my Tydes cardigan. Tydes is a funny old pattern. I designed this. I remember casting this on and it was my Christmas cast on of 2023. So well over a year ago. And I did the test knit last year, I ran the process last year, and then I decided I wanted to give it a bit more time, but by this point it was the end of April and it felt like it was too late in the year to release it. It's a very springtime pattern. It is, I've knit both my samples. It comes in a cardigan and a sweater. I didn't realise, no I didn't actually, I was going to say I didn't realise I pattern matched the body and the sleeves and I didn't, so that's fine. It comes in a cardigan and a sweater, so I knit the sweater sample first, and this is very much the OG. Tydes with a Y is an old Scots spelling of the word tide, like the ocean, like the sea, and so this is kind of this like wavy pattern, and the blue and white was very like evocative of tidal patterns. And this one is knit in Sandnesgarn brushed alpaca and it's quite a chunky gauge. It's a 17 stitch gauge, which apparently I love a 17 stitch gauge. Everything I knit seems to be that gauge, which is funny because I can never find yarns that work at that gauge. But this is 17 stitch gauge and I knit it in a really fluffy yarn, which means that it's really quite lightweight. The cardigan even more so. But it's just warm enough for this weather, and I presume like it'll be great in autumn as well when there's like a bit of a chill in the air. You want a little bit of warmth but you don't want to be wearing something really heavy. This is exactly what this was designed for. And so when I decided to give it a bit more time and it was the end of April, I thought, you know what, it's by the time people finish this it's going to be like June time, it's not going to be time to wear it anymore, let's hold off. And so when it came around this year to spring again, I thought, okay, I have a space in March, let's get Tydes ready. So in preparation, the whole test knit has been done, so the pattern was forever ago. So what has changed, I guess, in the past couple of months? Well, I knit my cardigan sample. I started a cardigan sample in the past. I can actually see it up there. It's like purple and red, and I used no fluff. I just did it in plain yarns. And it's honestly, I think all it needs is the button bands. So at some point I'll come back and finish those. But I just really felt like a new project, and so I purchased some Kaos yarn, Kaos brushed alpaca, or maybe it's just alpaca. They have got an alpaca range. And I had that all double and made this really, really lightweight version of it. I'll put some pictures as I'm talking. So I kind of reworked the pattern, and as I was going through it I was like, okay, I can clarify this. It's obviously been a whole year of pattern writing, so what can I improve, what can I change? I've made a handful of videos to go with it for the stitch pattern and for the decreases, which is the only part that I think I wasn't very happy with, was like making sure the decreases were really, really clear, because you do decrease in pattern. So there's now a video for that. I added an extra size on the small end of the pattern. I'm really trying to make sure that all my patterns are fully inclusive for the size, what's it called? Craft Yarn Council sizing chart. And whilst I always hit the top of the end, what I realised is that I've got a few patterns which, if I use the lowest number of recommended positive ease, I don't hit the smallest size in the chart. So the smallest size is 71 centimetres. So say I had a pattern that had 8 centimetres of recommended ease, or like 8 to 15. I hit the 15, but I didn't necessarily hit the 8. So I'm trying to go back and make sure that all my patterns going forward, and I'll eventually go back and start adding them retroactively on the small end of the scale. So I added a smaller size, I added video tutorials, we've got some additional tutorials in there, I've added other yarn options, and just tried to basically bring up to the standard of the patterns I'm releasing now, and I'm really pleased. And I'm so glad that I knit this sample, because I think it kind of made me fall in love with this pattern again. I think I had a little bit of time where I was a bit indifferent towards it, just because it'd been a year and I put pause on it because I thought it wasn't quite ready, so I wasn't feeling super positive about it, because I was like, oh, that's that one. I felt like a bit of a failure. So re-knitting it was really lovely, and I really like the sample. I think I'm going to wear this so much in the upcoming weeks. We're not really doing anything for Easter this year. I'm not religious, but I guess I live in a culturally Christian country, so Easter and Christmas are two things that are, you know, we might have a family lunch or something, and I hope we do, because I feel a bit like a cross between like a garden, like a spring garden, and an Easter egg in this, and I kind of love that. We went yesterday to take the pictures at the beach quite close to where I live, and it was funny because it's glorious sunshine right now. It's been glorious sunshine all week, and yesterday we've just got a lot going on right now. Everything's a little bit busy. And we finally found time to go yesterday. Sam went with me. And of course it was raining and like torrential rain. Heavy winds and like spattering of rain the whole time. And now it's sunshine again. So yeah, it was meant to remind me of like that sweater you shove on to go on the beach when you want to chill out but you want a little warm layer. And instead it was like actually keeping me warm against a gale force wind in Scotland. I've got a question for everyone, which is what to do about this button. So I am using, I used them on this as well, and this is closer so I can show it. I am using these pearl buttons. This is my Kathy cardigan, which is coming out next month, and the buttons I had on it were too small, so I replaced my buttons, and doing so I added the same buttons. I think they are 20mm mother of pearl. I don't know, they're not really mother of pearl, they're like shell pearl buttons, but I think they're always called that. But this is so lightweight, which makes it perfect, but it means that it had a button here and the whole thing, it was just flopping the whole time. So I've taken this button off. I just cut it off before I sat down to film because I was like, that's gonna frustrate me the whole time on camera. Do I just take off these two and then like sew up these? And I think I'll always wear it open. Or do I put like a smaller button here? I thought that the mother of pearl would work because it was so lightweight, but even for this, or do I back the button band or something? Insights. I'm looking forward to some insights. Anyway, back on topic. This pattern is now available. There is a discount code. The discount code is Tydes10 for 10% off until Sunday. If you're a newsletter subscriber, you should have already had a newsletter with an extra discount. I put on there's an added discount that always goes out to newsletter subscribers, and that is there. So yeah, I'm glad. I'm pleased with this, and it's actually been really lovely the way it's worked out because the pattern was already testing it and written. I basically I did all the work for this last year, so it required some admin on my part, but there wasn't really any pattern development. There wasn't really any test calls to run. There wasn't really any of that to do because I've already done it all. So it kind of gave me this like nice little break, and I've used that time to just start working on things for autumn already. But it's been really lovely. So yeah, and it's been so nice because quite a lot of the testers are now sharing their pictures from last year, and it's like, oh, I love that version. Oh, I love that version too. And that's been really nice. So Tydes sweater and cardigan, it comes all in one pattern purchase, is now available, and you can use, this is 2 colours with like 10 rows per stripe. This is 6 colours with 4 rows per stripe. There was a lot of ends to weave in, but I think it was worth it. And you can do a fitted sleeve. Both of mine have fitted sleeves, but there's also an option for a balloon sleeve, which quite a few of the testers, a few testers were like, do you mind if I just do balloon? And then I just added it as an option in the pattern because I thought, yes, of course you could do that. So that is I don't think this is a finished object. I think it was finished last time, but I don't think I was wearing it. I've definitely not worn it yet. So here it is. So fun. I'm honestly just wearing it with a bra today, but I think if I was leaving my house, I would be wearing it with a camisole. But the fabric is like opaque enough that you can't see through it. So it doesn't, I'm not flashing anyone, it's not indecent. But I don't always trust my buttons, so I probably would wear a camisole underneath just to make sure that I don't just like flash people on the street. because that's not really my vibe. Okay, let's talk about my second set of finished objects, and that is a little baby set. So I'll put a picture here. I was working on some of this last time and I've sketched them off, and the baby was meant to be here a week ago and the baby is not here yet. So yes, fingers crossed that the baby comes soon. So I'm very excited to know what the baby's going to be called and what it looks like and all of those things. So these are some baby knits that I worked on over the last sort of month or so. I gave myself basically like a project a week up until baby came. So I knit four things. So the first thing was I think it's called the Sister Suit. It's by Petite Knit. I love this thing. It is really fun to knit. It's really quick to knit, and it's basically like a onesie without any legs. And I think this will be my go-to for baby. Like, I've knit a few before and gifted them, and I think I'll stick with it because I really do like to knit it. It kind of is a bit like a hat to me, like you can knit it in a night, and it's a really fun colour, and I think it means like it fits quite well in with like if the parents have got like a certain style or they want to dress the baby a certain way, they can do that. It can be layered up quite well. Everything I knit I try to knit at about a 6-month gauge, 6-month size, like 6 to 12 month size, because baby is born now and I thought it probably won't be in knits when it's this small. It'll probably be in knits next winter, so everything's a bit on the bigger side. So I knit that. The second thing I knit was a cardigan, and I completely forgot the name of the cardigan, but I will put it in the description down below. It was I think it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it was great. It was fine. It's just a stockinette cardigan, and what's quite nice about it is the button band is integrated. So I think it's just a garter stitch button band. So that was quite nice because when you're done, and you don't have to worry about that. You have to worry about button bands. The third thing I knit was a mini stick season sweater. So back in one of the testers knit a baby stick season for their kid, and every time I saw that I was like, oh, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. So I knit a baby stick season, and I got so many comments on it on Instagram that I have spoken to my tech editor, who only became my tech editor because she graded my first kids pattern, and then I loved working with her so much that was 2.5 years ago, or 2 years ago I guess, and she's amazing. And so I spoke to her and asked about basically like whenever we've got some time in the schedule, could she grade some baby patterns for me. So I've given her 4 to start with. I think it just means that I think I'll do them in batches of 2, so I'll have 2 test knits running and then 2 test knits running, and then I'll release them all together. I did my Cargill sweater, my very first pattern. I did a kids version of that. It just didn't sell well, and it is to this day still one of my like least selling patterns. So, and it still requires all the work. It still covered its costs and things, but it's never been particularly motivating to me because it doesn't, like, I don't have kids, so I'm not like, oh my gosh, I want to dress my child, and I also, it doesn't sell particularly well, so there wasn't a huge motivation. But 4 people asked, so I thought let's give it another bash, and I think there are going to be 4 patterns, including the stick season, which are going to be kids sized this year. And then the last thing I knit was by far the most fun. It is the Vera Bear pattern. It is on Ravelry, and I had so much fun knitting this. The Vera Bear is, a very simple teddy bear pattern, and you can knit it at any gauge. I used a worsted weight, and what I particularly liked about it is I had no idea what I was doing. There was something, I don't know if I remember seeing a post about like the types of holiday you need, like a holiday where you clean your whole house, a holiday where you don't move for 5 days, a holiday to read all the books on your TBR, a holiday where you make no decisions. And there was that last one about decision making was kind of what knitting this bear felt like. When I knit, I'm generally, even if I'm following my own pattern, my brain is still engaged in a different way because it's still, I guess, being more critical or like thinking ahead. I couldn't do that with this because I had no idea what was happening. I was vaguely aware that I was making a head and like vaguely aware I was knitting an arm, but like I was just following the pattern blindly, and it was so enjoyable to like fully trust the process. And I really enjoyed that you weren't ever doing anything for too long. I think at one point you knit something for 16 rows, and like that was the most knitting without any shaping there ever was in the whole pattern. And then I stuffed it, and then I cried because I couldn't believe how cute it looked stuffed. I will say I was PMSing. It probably hit me at a bad time, but I filled this bear and I was like, oh my god, it's so beautiful, I can't believe I made this with my own hands. And I had a little cry, and then I sent a picture to everyone I know. But I will say I I made mistakes, but I followed the pattern correctly, but I did the same. I just did a lifted increase for all of my increases. The pattern called for make ones, and I thought lifted would be less obvious, and I'm glad I did lifted, but I did my lifted increases all in the same direction. The pattern doesn't tell you which direction to make increases, it just tells you to make increases. So I did, I think, right lifted for all of them, and I think in retrospect I probably it meant that they look a little non-symmetrical, like my increases are both going like this when ideally they go like this, if that makes sense. So in future I would do that, but I decided to cover up those mistakes by making him a very cute pair of dungarees. So the same designer also has a pattern for a coat and a hat, like very Paddington style, and a dress and a pair of dungarees. So I made the dungarees, and again they were really fun, like weird, like techniques I'd never done before, but really enjoyable, and they were sent off and they arrived I think earlier this week, maybe Monday. So yeah, they arrived. Baby has not arrived, but they have arrived, and I had so much fun knitting those. I don't love knitting baby knits, honestly, like it's not my favourite thing to do, and in the past it felt like an obligation, but this just felt like fun. Maybe it's because it's the first baby in the friend group, or I knew it was going to a crafty mum-to-be. Is it mum-to-be? Is that what do you call them? Yes, baby's mum is very crafty, so I knew that they would be like appreciated. I don't know if that also helped, but I had a really nice time knitting those. So that's my second set of finished objects, and again it's all posted, so I've taken some pictures and hopefully I remember to put them in here, but yeah, that's my next thing. I have two more. No, I have three more finished objects. This next one's a cheat, and that's because I didn't knit it myself. So March 2 years ago I released the Lannark pattern, which is probably still in my top 3 patterns. If I think about the patterns I'm most proud of, I honestly think that the Cargill, and then like the third one varies depending on the mood I'm in. Like I'm really proud of Staffin because I really reworked it and like made it work, and I had a vision and I like kept going until I made it work. I'm really proud of Stick Season because I captured a vibe, like it was all about a vibe and I really captured that. I'm really proud of Kintra because I had fun. So I don't know what the third one is, but there's a permanent slot for the Cargill because it was the first. There's a permanent slot for the Lannark because I just can't believe this is something you can make with your own 2 hands. So this is the Lannark. Gosh, it's looking terrible. I will, I'll show you a few pictures, I'll put them in. I'll put a pattern picture in as well. This is a drop shoulder, top down zipper sweater in Oliver Half Fisherman's Rib, and it's got this big cozy collar, and you put the zip in, and it's got like some really pretty shaping, like on this, that's the sleeve shaping, like there's just a lot of things about this I really like, and I love Half Fisherman's Rib. It's maybe my favourite thing to knit. So I love the Lannark pattern. I have knit 3.5 Lannarks. Brown, white, blue, no, the blue. 2.5. I thought I knit a third. Anyway, I knit my mum a sample. I knit myself a sample, and then I had 2 sample knit at the time. One for my brother, and one which is a red one, which is actually too big for me. And the original sample, it's actually, I was gonna say I just tucked a sleeve. It's like right there. That brown. The original sample, the yarn was sent to me by Bare Naked Wool. I was like, it's called Kent DK, but I can't remember the yarn brand. Bare Naked Wool. It was a strange process. The person running Bare Naked Wool, or like running the interactions, like left during the pattern development. So like they had no clue that I was developing a pattern for me, but they sent me yarn. So as much as it was a sponsored, like they sent me yarn, it's never really felt particularly affiliated to them because they kind of checked out the process, and I was just kind of like, well, I've got some yarn, I'm going to knit. But I remember when they sent over the colours and they were like, oh, which colour would you like? And they're all natural colours, and I asked Sam and he's like, you have nothing in brown, why don't you get the brown? And I'm like, okay, I'll get the brown. From that moment on, I have regretted not using it in this colour, and this is the colour Wet Sand. This yarn is pricey. Just put that out there. Like, you can make this in lots of other yarns that are less expensive, but this yarn is pricey. And I regretted not getting this colour from like the day I launched it. So when I went to Rhinebeck in 2023, there was a stall for Bare Naked Wool. They had Kent DK, and I bought a sweater's quantity of the Kent DK in the colour Wet Sand, which is the colour that I wanted from the very beginning. And then it sat and sat and sat and sat, and I've got another Lannark on my needles that is also sitting and sitting and sitting with no progress. So I decided to have it sample knit, which is where I send the yarn to somebody and I pay them per metre to knit it up, and then I pay them and they send me the sample back. I do this quite often, a couple of times a year anyway, and I just thought, you know what, like, it's going to sit in my stash for years if I don't do this, and I want to have this pattern to wear. And the Lannark's had a few reworks over the years, and I'm now at a point where like I'm really proud of that pattern. I'm also really proud that I like persisted with it and made some changes and added extra videos and like things like that. So I had a sample knit. So it arrived back maybe a week and a half ago, and then my zip arrived about 10 days later. The zip sewing is so easy. I made a video on it, and the video has been watched a lot because I know it also applies for like the petite knit zipper sweater, which is a popular pattern. You just hand sew it, and what's really nice about it is as long as you pick a colour that matches the yarn quite well, your stitches disappear into the yarn, so they can be as messy as you like, you'll never tell. And there we go. It is a cropped version. It is the most yarn chicken of yarn chicken. The lining, actually, there's a facing on the zip. You can kind of see it. I'm just going to show you all the innards of this. You can kind of see this little square. So you knit like a little facing, like a little pocket, and then you sew that down. And the facing is technically finished in a different yarn. And I don't even know, maybe the camera picks it up better. Yeah, you can kind of see it's a little bit more grey at the bottom there. That's a different yarn. That's how much yarn chicken was played. But I love this thing. I am being incredibly precious about it right now. I'm wearing it when I want to feel cool and special, and I am not wearing it otherwise because I'm nervous about ruining it or damaging it or anything happening to it, because not only do I love this, it was also expensive yarn and sample knit, so there's a lot of money in this sweater. And I'm just being really precious about it. But I love it so much, and it feels so good to have, and I'm so pleased with it. So that I felt like showing, even though I didn't finish. I put the zip in. I guess that counts as some work from my half. And I designed the pattern. It's always funny. I have worn a few knits out before and someone's like, oh, did you make that yourself? And it's a sample knit. And I'm always like, well, no. But yes, like I designed the pattern and I've knit this before, but this exact one is not mine. So yeah, I think I might just, I don't know, do I just lie and say yes, I knit this myself, or do I try to explain what sample knitting is? I don't know. Okay, 2 more works in progress. No, 2 more finished objects. And then we'll get to the works in progress. I have a test call going out today, and my test calls are now all going in my newsletter, so everything is going in my newsletter. Pattern release, what's the word I'm trying to say? Extra discounts. So an extra discount goes to newsletter subscribers and all my test calls go there. I've talked about this extensively, but I had a bit of a wave at the end of last year where I just damaged I was trying to post every single day for Instagram. I thought it'd be a fun thing to do in October, and it worked really well for like a week and a half, and then I tanked my algorithm and my posts were getting shown to no one for the second half of October, and it took like 3 months to get back up to normal. So now I'm trying to put all my important information that I actually want people to get into a newsletter. And that's how our test calls are going. So summer test net is coming up, and this is for a pattern that you've seen before in different formats. This is the Staffin Lite. So in January this year I released the Staffin. It is a 16 stitch, I had it down. I did a bit of tidying today, and everything that had just been like lying around is now back on its shelf. I'll put a picture of the Staffin. It is a mega pattern. It is a vest, a cardigan and a sweater. The cardigan is round neck and v-neck, and it is a 16 stitch gauge, which is a beautiful, I used Ralma Fivel and it made this lovely like soft fluffy airy pattern. But I also really like the idea of making it into a t-shirt, and I thought why not do a light version. And so the light version is available in both DK and in 4-ply, and it is the t-shirt / sweater and the vest. There's no cardigan. So my intention is to make these a summer summer knit, but you could also just knit, like a few people messaged me and said, oh, I love Staffin but I don't like knitting at that gauge, or like I like it but I don't live in that climate. You could just knit this with long sleeves, or you could knit this in woolly wool. I've made both of mine in cotton wool mixes, but you have options there, ultimately is what I'm saying. So here's the t-shirt. It is so fun. This is in Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino, and I love a white t-shirt for summer. I think it's just like everything I want to knit in white in summer, or like off-white, or like neutrals. And I think it does such a good job with stitch definition. So it's the same as Staffin. It has the 2x2 rib, it has the Estonian buttons, and it has the diamond brocades. And it's got like the fun details, like the edgings of the sleeves and everything has that like pearl bump. So this is the t-shirt, and I've kept the neckline a little bit more open on this one, so I've done a really, really narrow ribbing, but you could again just do it you could just do it like the sweater and do big ribbing if you wanted to. And then for the vest, again, I feel like I unlocked something in my brain when I realised you can just knit winter patterns in summer weight yarn and make a vest. I guess it becomes a tank top if you wear it in the summer. I also used Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the colour navy, but what I did here, which I think is quite fun, is I substituted the Estonian buttons for some lace, and there'll be notes in the pattern how to do that. So they're really dinky little, there we go, they're really dinky little holes, but it just means there's like a light lace element to it, which I think is fun for summer. I thought I added something extra as well. And I just subbed them 1 for 1, so wherever there was a button I added a yarn over, knit 2 together, but there's enough space that you could do an entire round of yarn over knit 2, yarn over knit 2, yarn over knit 2, and make it more lacy than mine, if you wanted it to be. I am very happy that I knit this in navy, because I think I suit navy, and I think it's a colour I don't have enough in my wardrobe. I'm a little bit nervous about the pictures for this, because it's like, if the light is not on it, like you can't see any stitch pattern. It has to be in the right light, so I'll put my faith in Jasmine, as I always do. And yeah, it's just some fun, I don't know, the vest got fun details, it's got some like fun shaping on the back, etc. So I can't remember the pattern will come out in June. So I think it's definitely more than 10 weeks test. It could be 11 weeks, I can't remember, but all the details are in the test form. It's a plenty long test knit. There's a DK and a 4-ply version. You can knit it with buttons, or you can knit it with lace, you can knit it woolly, you can knit it in cotton, whatever you like. And the test call is down below. What else I'll say about that one? I don't think so. I think it's everything. I feel like I'm forgetting something about this, but I can't think what I'm forgetting. The Staffin pictures are the biggest pictures we've taken, the most people that attended the pictures, so I'll be curious to see if I have like anyone from Knit Night that applies to test knit automatically is a yes. They are my local community, they are my knitting friends, so any of the people that I see, I see them every single week, so if they come to Knit Night, they are automatically in the test knit if they want to be, but quite a few Knit Nighters did the Staffin, the big one, so I'll be curious to see if any of them also sign up to do the light version. And what colours? I probably will just do a t-shirt in the 4-ply. I don't think I'll do a 4-ply vest. But what colour do I do? Red? Like what colour? Or maybe a pale blue? I do have some Knitting for Olive silk in a pale blue. So any suggestions on what colour adds to the mix, I guess. Okay, that's all my finished objects. Just a couple. 29 minutes of finished objects. And then works in progress. Let me just have a quick count. I've got 1, I've got 2, I've got 3, I've got 4, and I've got a disaster one to show you. So I guess that's like 4.5. It's not really a disaster, I'm being dramatic, but that's fine. I'm allowed to be dramatic. Where should we, okay, let's start with something really fun. Let's start with my wintry ones. So, I was influenced. I guess I'm technically an influencer, but being an influencer also meant that I was influenced. Oh, of course I'm in the middle of a row. That's so silly, Rebecca. Why would you do that? And I don't even have the needle attached because I borrowed the needle for something else, so you just have to accept that I made a mistake here, but it's fine. I'm on TikTok, and the TikTok knitters are a different breed. They're interesting. They've got different takes on things. One of the things that they are obsessed with is this yarn. And this is I don't actually know where the full balls are. Oh, I can see them. I'll grab them. This yarn. This is Lang Cloud. And yeah, the TikTok girlies, the girlies of TikTok are obsessed with this stuff. It is from Lang, which is, I believe, a German company. And it is a chunky weight yarn that is colour changing. And it sells out as soon as it comes in stock. I got mine from Linda Hobby, who are not in the UK but ship to the UK, and it takes a little while, like 10 days or so. But I never had any issues with customs or anything. And this changes colour as you knit. So my original thought was I will make my Lusk tee, which is my summer tee that's coming in, that's in testing. I will make a sweater version of that. It's like a long sleeve version. And it's worked, like it's drop sleeves, it's going to be great. And then I realised, well, I guess I'll show you. So I started working it, and my realisation was ultimately that I was going to end up in a bit of a pickle. And the reason I was going to end up in a pickle is because, I wonder if I can just push all these stitches through. Yeah, that's fine, I'll do that. I'm making work for myself later, but that is not an issue. I'm currently trying to like transplant my stitches onto the needle, another needle, whilst, I'm putting the tip of the needle in the space where the other needle goes, and then just like pushing all the needles over it. Hey, it worked. Okay, so this is what it looks like knit up. So this is the back panel. It's so fun. It's like retro, cozy, autumnal sweater vibes. And a few things. Firstly, it's not remotely on gauge for my Lusk tee. So my Lusk tee is 17 stitches, this is 15 stitches. So had to do some maths. Secondly, if I was to now join in the round, so technically this is the end of the back shaping, so that section there is just the back shaping. If I at that point joined in the round, my stripes would change dramatically because my stitch count would double, and so my stripes would become half the width they are now. And that's not a look I wanted. I don't want it to be too uniform, but I don't want dramatic changes in the stripe width. My battery died. So if I was to work this in the round, my stitch count would double, which means the width of my stripes would half. And now they're not super uniform stripes. These are like 2 rows, there's 3 rows, there's 4 rows. But overall, all my stripes would become narrower, and that is not, I didn't want that. So I decided to knit the back panel flat. So that's what I'm currently doing. And then I'll knit the front panel. I guess what my issue right now is that because of the way I've done this, I'm going to have to pick up for the shoulders and like work the shoulders round and then start working flat. So I think I'm going to have to do a bit of yarn management around the shoulders just to make sure I don't have, firstly to make sure they're even. So I think what I'll do is I'll find the same place in 2 balls of yarn, which is going to be a nightmare because I've only got this much left of my first ball of yarn and I've not yet found a pattern repeat. There's not a repeat yet. So that's going to be interesting. Gosh, it's really falling apart here. So that'll be the first thing. And then the second thing is I want to make sure that I don't end up with like chunks of colour. So I think I have to like work to take out some yarn, cut it out, work to cut some yarn. Not very efficient. And if I was thinking about this now, I would do it differently, probably. I'd probably work bottom up. I think. I don't even know what I'd do differently, to be honest. But I'd do something differently. But that's fine. It's not like, we're not going high fashion here. We're going like fun, cozy sweater. So I think it's still going to be great. Like this and a pair of like my dark blue jeans. And like that's going to be so fun in autumn, I think. So again, I'm not in a rush for it. But it is fun. It's a little bit different. And then I had a big thought process about the sleeves. And like, do I knit the sleeves flat or in the round? And the good thing is that my sleeve stitches are about 2/3 of the size of this panel. So whilst there will be a difference in the sleeve stitch count, it will not be dramatic. So the stripes will be longer, but they will not be too much longer. And again, I might keep my eye on things and pull out, like do a bit of yarn management if I have to. There's be so many ends to weed in. So I think that will work. My debate was with myself and with TikTok was, I thought this was quite interesting actually. Does it make a difference if I work my sleeves flat and then seam them or in the round? From a stitch count perspective, no. It makes very little difference. However, from a pulling perspective, it will, because working in the round will create a spiral, whereas working back and forth, like that will end up looking more like this. So I'm still not decided. I think what I might do is start working it in the round, and see if I like it, and if I don't like it, I'll rip it out and do it flat. Because of this I've chosen to this sweater, there's also a little bit of sleeve shaping at the top of the sleeve. Again, I think I have to yarn management my way through that. So I have plenty of yarn. I think this is going to look like an effortless sweater that's going to require a lot of effort to make the colours work, but I'm having fun with it. I will say I like hyperfixated on it for like 4 days, and then now I've not knit on it for like a week and a half. Mostly because it's now sunshiny and I like the sun. But it is fun. It is a little bit different. I think if I have any extra yarn, I'll make a fun hat to go with it. And the yarn is 90%, it's a blown yarn. It is 90% wool, 10% polyamide, and the polyamide is like the casing for this. It's nice to knit with. It kind of reminds me of like a Sneffnag, or I'd say a little bit like a Dropsier, but I think higher quality. I think there's definitely a high, like I feel like with Dropsier, if you squish the casing, it stays squished. Because it's not blown very full, whereas I feel like this is blown quite full, so it feels quite chunky. And I don't mind the polyamide. I know the polyamide is just for the casing, and it doesn't feel plasticky or acrylic-y at all. It feels like wool, and it's very, very soft. It's probably gonna pill like crazy, but we'll get through it. So yeah, I've not made loads of progress on this. I'd like to get the back panel finished at some point, but I'm kind of in a weird transitional place where I've got projects today that I'm not going to show you. I've got a colourwork, a cable knit sweater, and a Henley, which are all autumn designs, and I've just made no progress on them because I'm just starting to get obsessed with summer things. But also, what have I got? 4 summer patterns, 4 winter patterns. Red, cable, colourwork, Henley. Yeah, so I've got 4 patterns that are already coming in the autumn, and of the 4 patterns that are coming, 2 of them are already written up, and then the other one is ready to write. Yeah, my cables is almost written up, and my Henley's not, but I need to make some more progress in the Henley. So basically, like, I am well ahead of the game, and I'm that way where I've knit enough of them all to work out what I need to write up and like to do all the pattern writing, and now it's a case of just finishing them. And if I was sitting down to knit right now, I'm really taken by summer knits because it's summer weather outside. So what I was thinking about doing, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I think if you watch this channel, you know that tangents are common. It's in a very cute bag from Little Grey Girl, by the way, which I bought at Unravel. I thought that this matched the colours of the sweater quite well, which I don't normally do, but I liked it for this. What I thought I might do is, what I keep doing is making like incremental progress on those autumn whips, and making like, you know, doing like 5 centimeters per sweater in a week. And so what I think I'd do instead is pick one, finish one. Pick the second, finish the second, and try and just, I think that they're all about 10 days each from being done. Yeah, that's actually, they're all almost in exactly the same place. They've all got the yoke and most of the body done, like 2/3 of the body. The cable knit just needs the body bound, like the ribbing finish on the body hem and then the 2 sleeves. The colour work needs about 10 centimetres on the body and the 2 sleeves, and the Henley needs about 10 centimetres on the body and the 2 sleeves. So they're all in the same place, and none of them are moving particularly quickly because I'm incrementally working them all, but also there's no rush on any of them. So I think what I might do is pick one. I think the colour work will be first, and I'm going to try and finish the colour work and then have that done, and then just try it instead of trying to make a little bit of progress on each one each week, which isn't really working. I'm going to try and focus on one, get it done, and it might take me 6 weeks to get through all 3, but that's fine. It'll be like 2 weeks to get the first one, 2 weeks to get the second one, 2 weeks to get the third one. That is my plan. But of course, while I'm doing that, I'm just casting on with Wild Abandon, because what else would I do if I didn't cast on with Wild Abandon? So, talking of casting on with Wild Abandon, here's a new cast on. So when my Lusk tee my Lusk tee is, I'll put a picture of it here. It's currently in testing, it's going really well. I've seen some really, really fun test versions, and I'm already planning my final sample, I think. But with the Tolsta tee, I went back a year later and added long sleeves. I thought with this one I'll just add a long sleeve version from the get-go. But I wanted to knit a long sleeve version, and I keep seeing like fun Pinterest outfits with like a white tiered skirt. Now I don't have a white tiered skirt, but I have a white tiered dress, and then like fun shoes like sneakers, and then a navy sweater and a baseball cap. This is the vibe. And the same goes with like white jeans, navy sweater, baseball cap, fun shoes. I have white jeans, I have a white dress, I have a baseball cap, I have fun shoes. What do I not have? A navy sweater. I technically do have a navy sweater, but I don't wear it. It's not. It's like I didn't even keep it. Actually, I have 2 navy sweaters. My Kintra is also navy, but that doesn't count. So I thought I'd make a navy Lusk. I've been craving a navy sweater for so long and I keep just not doing it. So I cast it on. This is how much we have. But what I thought would be fun is I kind of, of an evening, we tend to have dinner at like maybe 7:30, and then we usually have like 2 hours before bed, and I like to spend those 2 hours either watching some TV and doing some knitting, or reading a book and doing some knitting. And I thought this would be my perfect reading a book project, because everything else, all my summer knits right now require some focus, and so I cast it on. So I've barely done anything, but that's okay. This is in also a bag I got on Unravel. Cute little flowers on it, and again I coordinated my bag to my project. This is by, I honestly don't know. It says inside designed for you by Poppy, but I don't know who Poppy is. And again, they're just handmade. So these guys don't have a name on them, but they were at Unravel. I am using Pure Gynt from Sandnesgarn and Alva from Filcolana, which is a lace weight alpaca. I got gauge. Because my other one, my colourful thing that I thought would get gauge didn't get gauge, I thought I would actually get the gauge swatch this time. So I gauge swatched perfectly bang on 17 stitches, and we'll just get through this as we get through this. But I thought what I'd also show you is that I'm going to do my 3rd Lusk tea sample, and it's going to kind of match. We're going to go red, white and blue. Again, the white jeans. It's going to look cool. I think, I need to check how much yarn I have. I think I'll do the blue as my main colour with like small stripes of these two. But I'm also tempted to mix things up. I could do white with small, I've got the most of the red, but I don't think I want an all over red. I don't think I want red to be the main colour. I think I want it to be blue or white. So I put them in the bag to show you. But I will also be doing a Lusk tee in these, and the pattern comes out in May, so I have a little bit of time still. I will prioritise getting the tee finished before I get the sweater finished, but I thought they would be cute. And like I say, I'm just casting on every single day at the moment. Okay. I have I've got 3 more whips to show you. So let me talk about, summer designs. Where are we at? We've got Tydes comes out today. Kathy, Cardigan, Cables and Lace comes out in April. Lusk Tea comes out in May. Staffin, Lite, wherever I put them on the floor over there, comes out in June. August I do a birthday sale, so generally I don't release a pattern in August. I might release a pattern at the start of August. We'll wait and see. There's like a block there. Like I could put a pattern out the first week of August, but TBD. My last slot that I have to fill is 1 slot for July. And I had 2 ideas, and I thought I can't decide which one of these are going to be, and I also don't know if they're both going to work out. I find that, I was going to say, I find that summer garments are harder to translate from my head than winter garments, but I don't know if that's true. I think I just sometimes a bit hit and miss. I feel like for every 3 sweaters that turn out on my needles exactly as the look of my head, 1 does not work out. And that also happens for summer knits. So I cast on 2 things, and my thought was like, let's just work on them both until I can try them on. And then once I can try them on, I can make a decision about which ones to continue with. So there is a not continue and there is a continue. Let me start with the not continue first. So the vibe here, the idea here was that it would be a square neck tee and tank top, where you could either add a set-in sleeve shape, so you could add a sleeve or you could leave no sleeve. And then I like the idea of you being able to add different trims. So you could do a ribbing, you could do a picot, you could do an I-cord, you could do a crochet edge, etc., depending on your preference. This is where we got to. My picot is not very good. Honestly, I think I just didn't sew it down properly, so it's kind of flapping out a little bit, my picot edge. What I do like about this, I love the high back. I wanted it to be a high back and not just strappy. I like that a lot. I generally like the shape of the neck. It's turned a little more curved at the bottom than the straight square, but I like that, and that also works better for trims, but it's gaping a little bit and it's too big. I think I need to design this with negative ease, and I've not done a whole lot of designing with negative ease. The good thing about this though is that I know I'm going to want to continue to work on summer projects throughout the summer, but because of my scheduling and because I want to make sure I do plenty time on test knits, at a push I could get one more pattern out in August. But basically at the end of this month is my cut off. At this point anything else I knit on the summer is going to be for next summer, which is nice because it gives me time and it means that the patterns are higher quality, it gets more time in tech editing. I have 2 tech editors, so it goes to the first and then the second, it can get a full test knit. Like there are lots of reasons why it's good to have a longer period. And especially for a while I was kind of chasing my tail trying to catch up, but now I'm like well ahead of schedule. So what this means is I've got the summer basically to keep practicing this and get it to the place where I want it to be, which I think I'll do. I think I will. I think I need a little break from it because it kind of peeved me. But I think I'll come back to it. I think what I need is to have negative ease on the upper bust. Sorry, 0 ease on the upper bust and then negative ease over the bust. That also means I could do options for bust shaping. Like if the measurement is on the upper bust, then I can do, they've got some options there. And then it's got a little bit negative ease, and then it's gonna be straight from there, and you can have a tank top or a sleeve. This tank top and the sleeve part definitely works. I like the width of the straps. Generally I like it, it's just that this part, like when it actually gets to the bust, there's too much space, so this is gaping. And I'm not ending up with a square neck. See, that sits in quite nicely because I'm pulling it kind of tight. But currently I've maybe got, I've got quite a lot of ease there actually. I think I've got 6 or 7 centimetres of ease and it's too much. So it will get a revisit I think, because I like the concept and I think I just need to like power through with it. But there we go. I use Filcolana Mercy for this, which is, I've got some because I ordered quite a lot of it. It is 50% cotton and 50% superwash wool. It is really nice to work with. I really liked working with it. This colour bled so much. Well, the dye bath was pink. Like I use a blocking, not dye bath, what am I saying? I use a plastic container to block my knits and I came back and this was like fuchsia water. So the colour ran a lot. So it does make a difference. Like it looks the same to me. It doesn't look like it lost any colour in the fabric. It didn't come off my hands, but if you were striping it, just be aware. And I know that purples sometimes run more. Like I think purple is a colour that's known to run. I do have another project in like a green, sagey green colour, so I guess I'll keep an eye out and see if that also runs, or if it's just the purple. But I would recommend it in that it's lovely to work with, but also just be aware that I'm trying to use some different I like to use Knitting for All cotton wool because it's really reliable and it gets the gauge I want. But I'm trying to branch out summer yarns this year, and so I thought I'd try this. And honestly, knitting experience, great, but be careful if you're going to stripe it, perhaps. So that was the no. That was the flop. But the good news is they're not both flops. The other one is definitely not a flop, and I'm very excited about this. Why do I've got so many random needles and everything right now? Every bag, I'm just like swatching everything all the time right now. So every bag I've got like extra needles in it. So, do I have my swatch in here? Yeah, here's my swatch. That's not it, this is it. So my swatch was these like mesh and garter. I mean, I like that it's like small mesh. They're not big, it's not big holes, it's small mesh. So I decided, again, I'm using this for all of cotton merino. This is the colour Natural, which is quite different from the white. Do I have another skein of it here? Where did I put it all? I have no idea. But this is the white and this is the Natural. It's definitely got quite a yellow tone to it, which I don't mind, but it wasn't really what I was expecting, which is silly of me because I should have been expecting it. So again, I've really been sitting with this idea of doing, I'm really just setting sleeves this year. Kathy is set in sleeve. Cara, that came out in November, was set in sleeve. My September winter pattern is set in sleeve. So like set in sleeves are vibing with me right now. I enjoy the way they fit. I enjoy the way they knit up. And what I thought about for summer is that a set in sleeve, if you get it right, gives you the option, because with a drop sleeve, like if you have a drop shoulder and you want to just make it a vest, you could add ribbing here, but then you've got all this drop which sometimes looks good, but I think also just doesn't always look great. But with a set-in sleeve, because your sleeve ends here, there's more fabric there, but your sleeve would end here, adding ribbing just turns it into a vest, a regular vest. Whereas if you add ribbing to, but you can also add a sleeve and make it a full sleeve. So I've been thinking about this because, as we know, I love a versatile pattern. So I was like, well, could I make a summer tee where there's a vest option? You could quite comfortably sub in a sleeve or ribbing and make it a vest or a tee. So this is what we have. I love this. I really, really like it. So I did my preferred sort of baby drop shaping, similar to the Staffin. And it has like the yoke is blocked, but the rest of the body, the sleeves are not blocked. And then it has a little sleeve, and you've got some sleeve shaping, which is really fun. And again, I was a bit worried it wouldn't work because it was in pattern, but that did work in pattern. I did make a mistake. There's an area somewhere which I currently can't see. So maybe, oh yeah, there's a bit here where like I did some lumpy bits, but I'll block it out and see how bad it is, and it won't take me very long to reknit a sleeve. But I wanted to kind of like validate the proof of concept that the sleeves worked. And this is where we're at. So it looks really good on. I like this a lot. I would either wear it with a nude camisole or a nude bra, or a few people suggested wearing like a pop of colour underneath. I think that'd be so fun. Like a lime green or a pink or something, like a pop of colour camisole which would shine through. And I really like it. So I'd like this weekend to write this up. Again, I've done all the bits now that need writing, so I can get this written up. And then I also got some yarn to make the second sample. Again, DK and 4-ply, because why make a summer... I like wearing DK weight summer knits. It works so well for my climate. It's rarely warmer than like 22, 23 degrees here. Most of my summer will be in the high teens. I don't need 4-ply garments. I like knitting with DK, but I know that I'm in the minority and that a lot of people like knitting 4-ply, so I'm just going to try as far as possible when I've got summer knits coming out to make them in DK and 4-ply, because it means that people can wear them more widely around the country, around the world even. So I'm trying a new yarn. This is what it is. This is going to be my vest sample. It is Gepard Cotton Wool 3. So again, it's a 50-50 wool cotton. It's non-superwash, this one, so it definitely feels a little different. I'm pretty sure it's not superwash. I think I'll look at the colours about this, and this could be the colour I also knit a 4-ply sample in, because the yarn I knit a 4-ply sample in, because it's nice yarn. I like how it works up. And I thought that'd be really fun. Again, like white jeans. I'm just really excited about wearing white jeans this summer, but I thought like white jeans and this and like a vest would just look very cool. So yeah, it doesn't have a name yet. It's got a name, but I'm not 100% sold on the name yet. So it's a work in progress, but that's okay. Oh, it looks so cool. It kind of looks like crochet. I feel like it looks like crochet, which I quite like because I don't really like crocheting, but I think crochet works so well for some summer garments. So I like channeling some of that crochet. And this will be my second sample, which hopefully will be on the needles by the next time I talk to you. So technically that's all my summer knits, but of course I couldn't resist just casting on another one. I've talked about this before, but what I find happens in terms of the way my brain seems to operate is that I find myself collecting, I think I talked about this before, being like kind of like the doors are open or the doors are shut in terms of like inspiration and ideation, and quite often I can just like shut the doors and then I just focus on what I'm working on, and there aren't really any new ideas coming, but it's okay because I've got a backlog of 15 things I want to work on anyway, and I've got some swatching to do, and like I just kind of let my brain shut off. And then what I find is that I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a new pattern, I've got a space, I've got a slot, I want something that looks like this, I'm missing this in my wardrobe, whatever the motivation is, and then I feel like I open my brain up and let the inspiration come in, and it doesn't immediately pop. It like marinates for a couple of weeks, and so there's a delayed response. So I'll be like, okay, let's look for some inspiration, let's get some ideas, and I'll be sketching, and I'll be on Pinterest, and I'll be looking at yarns, and I'll be looking at like trends and all these things, and like, but nothing really sticks. Like it all just kind of goes in, and then a few weeks later swatches pop out. I'm not kidding, this is how it happens. And what often happens is that I feel overwhelmed because at that point, like the swatches are coming thick and fast and I can't barricade the door again. And I'm kind of in that space right now. Like the swatches are coming thick and fast. My brain will not shut off again. And so I'm just casting on more things. So this is why there could be an August pattern, because I can't stop casting things on. But there's also a possibility that anything else I'm working on now will just be part of next year's work, which is also completely fine. But I cast on a project last night. I have no right doing so. I cast on a project the night before that. I got whips everywhere. I had a pattern released today that I needed to work on, and last night I was just like, I just really want to work on something new. And I did just enough maths to get going, but I can't keep going because I need to do some more maths before I work out where things are. But I made a swatch. Gosh, yeah, this bag was just had all my swatches in it, so it's just like full of everything. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. So here's, well, I made this swatch, and then I made this swatch. I think I like this one more. Oh, that's the back end. Back side. There we go. So it is a stitch pattern that includes garter bumps, lace, and elongated stitches. I love an elongated stitch, but they're kind of hard to work with and design with because the gauge changes. But I kind of like this because they're in there, but they're not, like, the whole thing isn't elongated, so it's hopefully going to be easier to manage. And it's like a really fun texture, and again, it kind of looks like crochet. So I cast on. So I steam locked this morning because hopefully at some point this afternoon I will be able to do some maths to get myself back on track with this. This is the back panel. Again, it's going to be set in sleeve. The vision for this is set in sleeve. So again, it can be sleeveless or it can have sleeves, and then a v-neck, and you can either tie it at the front, or you can put buttons at the front, or you could put hook and eye at the front just to close it normally. So I'm still a little bit nervous about the closure situation. Like, how do I get it to close properly? But I think that's going to come at the end, and again, it's going to marinate in my head until then, which is fine. But either way, I'm really excited. So this is what it looks like so far. This is also Filcolana Mercy. This is in this beautiful sage green colour, and it just holds that stitch definition so well. Yeah, so that's my back panel, and you're not going to be able to see this very well, but there's actually shaping in pattern here. You can kind of see at this end. So you can see that, like, the top rows are worked in pattern, but like that, I don't know if you can see that, but like there are a couple of rows that aren't worked all the way across, because that's short row shaping in stitch pattern, which was really fun to do. Sometimes I wonder, like, I didn't think I was ever going to be a knitting pattern designer, and then I hear myself geeking out about shaping in stitch pattern, and I'm like, well, duh. So that's really fun. Again, it doesn't have a name yet. We're just vibing with it right now, but I like the idea of it also being a vest and a tank top, and this one will be a v-neck, and I'm just having fun with it right now. I'm having fun with everything. That is kind of where I'm at the moment with all my knits, is everything's just fun and zero responsibility, because I'm working so far ahead of time that if things don't work out then it's fine, which is quite a nice way to be. So I think I just have a little bit of acquisitions to show. So I got my knitting for all cotton merino. That was used in the first whip I showed you with the garter, and God, my hair is just, the more I touch it the bigger it gets and the worse it gets over the course of this video. Undyed cotton merino. I'm using this for the lace one, the garter and the lace mesh. Filcolana Mercy. This is the green colour that I'm using for, it's colour 602. I'm sure it's called green or sage green. And that's cotton and superwash, and it's 4-ply, and I'm holding it double. I ordered from knit.co.uk, which is a place I regularly order from, and then she sent me some yarn. It's gotten to a real mess in the bag, so apologies for that. So this was gifted. I've never used it before. It is Horse Silk by Gepard, which is Tussa silk and linen. And I gather that Tussa silk, is that how you say it? Tussa silk is wild silk. So like, I don't know how that works. I have no idea, but someone told me it was wild silk. I should have read this before I started talking about it. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about it in case I'm just factually incorrect. It is Tussa silk. It is a beautiful silver colour. It's got a real shine to it. So TBD on this, to be honest. I kind of like the idea of my DK Lusk tea being in this, because I thought silk could be quite luxurious in it. But I honestly don't know. wow, it can be worked between a 17 and a 23 stitch gauge, which is quite a thick gauge for a sport. It's 350 meters per 100 grams. This is a 50 gram ball. So 17 stitches though, that's really open. Technically I could knit a DK weight Lusk tee in this, because that's 17 stitches. So maybe I'll try that. And I think the 4-ply is 24 stitches, so technically the 4-ply is too tight a gauge for this. Really I should swatch, Rebecca, that's what I should do instead of just sitting here and fondling it. And the last thing that I ordered was some yarn from Katia. So I ordered this yarn, I got some of this last year with the intention of making a toaster. I had enough for a toaster but not enough for anything else, and a toaster uses very little yarn. So I ordered 2 more skeins, and whilst I was ordering it, I bought some in this cranberry colour, which is a beautifully rich red. I was going to use this to knit the green, this one, the shaping one, but I swatched and I didn't like it. I wasn't a huge fan of the fabric. It didn't quite get it ended up too gapey for what I wanted, so it's just going to stash. But at this point, I'm casting on a summer design by the day basically, so maybe something else will come me needles or spring up with that. We'll see. So I think that's everything. I feel like I'm missing something, but surely not, and I've been talking for ages. So I think it's everything. Life-wise, I'm getting really into gardening. If anyone's got gardener YouTube channels that they like, or like cottagey, homesteady but not in a far right way YouTube channels that they recommend, I'd very happily take all those recommendations. It's the first time in my adult life that I've had a garden. So we grew up with gardens when I was a kid, but like my parents weren't big into gardening. Like they dabbled a little bit, like mum would like plant her pots each year, but they weren't big into gardening. So I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm just trying a bit of everything. I'm doing some vegetables, I'm doing some wildflowers, we're doing some grass, we're doing some borders, a little bit of everything basically. So what do I currently have? I have some potatoes in potato sacks, and I got some more potatoes chitting, because I know what chitting means now. It's basically where you let your potatoes grow stalks. You have to use certain potatoes for this. You can't just use a regular potato. It's illegal, in the UK at least, to use a supermarket potato to grow more potatoes from. Fun fact. Tomato seeds are planted, and we moved into our house. The person that lived before us had just completely left the garden, but the people in before them were big gardeners. So there's some nice things planted, but then it's been very overgrown for like 5-6 years. So I spent last weekend pulling ivy off of everything. That was so much work. There were so many spiders. Oh, I hated it. There were spiders everywhere, and I was so sore for like 3 days afterwards. My hamstrings were so tight, but we got all the ivy gone. And yeah, basically kind of combination of trying some new things and tidying up what we've currently got and enjoying the sunshine, which is really nice, because I feel like I have not felt the warmth of the sun for, it feels like many years, even though it's only been like 6 months. Other than that, what else is going on? Next week is, oh goodness, next week is Really Good Gathering. In my head it's not a week away. In my head it's like, oh, it's April, it's months away. It's next week. So this time on Friday, oh my goodness, this time in a week, I'll be teaching a class this time in a week. So put some time in. My class is mostly ready, but I've got a few final bits to organise, so I'll be doing that and enjoying the festival. And yeah, otherwise just plodding along, casting on lots of things, having lots of fun, not being too stressed about things, having way too many works in progress, and gardening. And that's about it. And taking the dog on nice big walks, because he is suddenly, I think we're almost through puppyhood. He'll be a year in 2 weeks. On the 12th of April will be his first birthday, and I think we're getting past the chaos. 10 months was awful, and the last couple of weeks have been starting to ease up, so I'm hoping that we're getting past the worst of it. And that's about it. That is all from me. Thank you for watching. I feel like it was especially rambly today. I am a bit of a funny schedule with pattern releases, and I'm trying to line up my pattern release, my test calls, and my communications. So newsletters, podcast, pattern release, test call, all happening at the same time. But it means that when I sit down to talk on the podcast, if there's been an extra week in the middle, I have so much to talk about. So it does lead to extra rambling. I hope that's okay with everyone. And yeah, I'll be back. I don't know when I'll be back. I like to say 2 weeks, but it might be 3 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks. I think I should be back in 2 weeks. Until then, if you want to apply for the test call, check the newsletter. If you sign up for the newsletter now, you'll still get the same email with the test call in it. So if you've not signed up yet, you can still do that. And Tydes is out, and you can use Tydes 10 for 10% off until the end of the weekend. Okay, I'm going to stop now. I'm going to go finish my coffee. Have a lovely weekend. Happy knitting. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.